and all of you that engage with my content in any way, shape or form. I really appreciate your support, encouragement, and just keep it up, guys. Keep it up, and thank you all so much. So previously we've talked about the different career development pathways that are available in nursing, thinking especially within the NHS here in the UK. When I speak to my clients, like that first conversation, people always tell me, "Oh, Melvis, what would you recommend for me? Do you think I should go for management, or do you think I should go for specialist nursing?" And what I will say to all of you is that whatever you go for depends on your skills, it depends on your interest, and it depends on your experience. So whatever you want, you've got to have the right experience for it, which is why, again, it takes me to talking about career plan. Because if you have a career plan and you want to become, say, an advanced nurse practitioner in working, in A&E, you've got to have a plan how you will get to that role, because there are certain positions that you can't just be like, "Oh yes, I'll get to it if I get to it." You have to actually work on it. So you kind of need a career plan for that. So really, it depends on your skills. Again, like we were saying, it depends on your interests and it depends on your experience. So what have you done? Where have you worked? What can you do? What do you like? What's your preference? What are you passionate about? What is it that if anybody wakes you from your sleep, you can have an interview, in fact a successful interview for? That's what I always say, because like me, I have to think, oh, what is my dream role in nursing? And I have to be ready for an interview anytime, any day. That's what I always say. That is the situation where you want to find yourself as a nurse. You want to make sure that you're ready for that role when the opportunity comes. So you prepare yourself, so you don't wait until the role is advertised and then you think, "Oh my goodness, yes, I'm gonna." No, ideally you should be prepared for it. You should be preparing, you should be gathering your evidence and whatever it is that you need really to be the best candidate, so you can actually secure that position, whatever it is that you want. So when we talk about your interests and your experiences, it has a lot to do with, do you like to work independently, or do you like to work mainly as part of a team, which then goes more to the management side? So when I talk about independent working, most specialist nurses are very independent in the way that they practice. So most of them have patients that they are in contact with, and they can see the patients when it's convenient for them and when it's convenient for the patients as well. It's a very predictable way of working. So your patients are usually in their own homes or things like that, and then you would contact them. So most of the specialist nursing positions are kind of like that. They deal with like outpatients and then just like the random inpatients that kind of need their expertise, they will be contacted for that. So they're very independent, and they run their own clinics. It's a very independent practice. But then if you're thinking in terms of management, it's a very different sort of story, because you're dealing with staff, you're dealing with junior staff, you're dealing with student nurses, you're dealing with senior management, you're dealing with patients, you're dealing with relatives on a daily basis. So you become a really good problem solver if you kind of follow the management route, because you're mainly dealing with different problems that are arising within the ward, whether to do with staffing or to do with patients or to do with relatives. So I find that with this route, the management pathway, you become really competent in so many different skills that as a specialist nurse, obviously you get to know a lot about whatever condition that you're dealing with, and then you've just got obviously the other sort of 20% is just your general nursing skills of just knowing how to handle problems when they arise. But for management, you're dealing with all sorts of issues. You deal with every single thing, so you tend to have more kind of extensive skills, especially with regards to like people management skills. You become like an expert in it really, depending on obviously how far you want to get into it, and how much support you're getting as well from senior management where you are, and most especially the interest that you have. Because if you're interested, there are things that you can do to enhance those skills. So if you haven't got those skills, it doesn't mean that you can't have them or you can't carry those roles. Again, like I always say, you've got to find a way to acquire those skills that you need if this is the sort of route that you want to pursue. So be be it checking within your area what's available, be it checking out of your area, independently what is available. So it's up to you as an individual, as to how you want to pursue all these different opportunities. So it's not really up to anyone else, it's up to you. And what I will say is, whatever you choose, whether specialist nursing or management, you've got to have the ability to add value to your team when you go to work every single day. It's extremely important. When you show up at work, your intention has to be that I'm going to add value to my team. So when I talk of adding value, I will say that obviously you can't give what you don't have. So you've got to add value to yourself first. You've got to add value to yourself first. And how do you add value to yourself? Wherever you're working, you've got to know inside out the expectations. What does your manager expect from you? What does that area expect from you? So if you work, say, I don't know, on the surgical ward, what are the skills that are expected? What sort of patients are you having? Are you able to independently and confidently care for a patient? So you need to find those skills and make sure that you've got them, because when you're working, you want to know what you're doing. So that is adding value to yourself, so you can add value to your team. And that is also part of being a good colleague, good teamwork, and good team spirit. You want to be that person that when people see your name on the off duty, they're like, wow, Melvis is on today, it's going to be an amazing shift. You don't want to be the other way around, where people are thinking, oh my goodness, should I go into work today? It's going to be a terrible shift. So you have to make sure that you add value to yourself, so you can add value to your team. Again, I know many people that are just like, oh, I've got nothing to lose or nothing to gain, so I'm just going to work because I have to, and they just show up, every day, and they're not really bothered about learning any new skills. They're not bothered about, doing much. I will say that, whatever has driven you to begin to think that way is worth taking a step back and rethinking that decision, because even if you feel that there are no opportunities for you to progress where you are, just continue to acquire those skills, because you may actually find that other opportunities even arise elsewhere. And if you've got those skills, then that can be a good way for you to also progress. So don't just give up because within that area you think, oh, nobody trusts me, or I cannot even make it here. So just continue to turn up, continue to show up, and continue to add value to yourself, so you can add value to your team. That is a massive thing. And also, one thing I always say, for the NHS, if the NHS is a system, it's like we are part of a chain that is there to make a system function well. So nobody is a boss. So when I show up at work, the intention is that I need to make my immediate manager's job easier. My immediate manager is showing up at work with the intention of making her immediate manager's work easier. That's how it is. So you need to add value to yourself, so that you add value to the team, and then you make your managers work easier. And by doing that, you put yourself in a really, really good position as well, because it means that even if there are development opportunities, people, and if there are development opportunities, you can actually be recommended for them. Because yes, it's one thing just showing up at work and not really being bothered. It's another thing when your colleagues know that you're competent, you're confident, you're trustworthy, you know what you're doing, you know what is going on. It's very, very important, because yes, you may not get a job within that area where you're working, but you may get a job within a similar area within the same directorate. You just never know what opportunities can arise. In fact, I've seen situations in nursing where an opportunity has come up for a new role, and management has actually recommended a particular nurse for it, because this particular nurse is very, very good, and maybe there are no opportunities currently going on where she works or he works, and they think, oh, this person is really good, so we think they'll do amazing here. So you want to be in that position where you're adding value, so that you can be considered for experiences, for opportunities. It could be, when we say opportunities, is not only about promotion, for example. It could be just a course, at university, funding. It could be that some funding has been awarded. It would be good to do courses, so you want to be among those people that add value, so that they can be chosen as well to do the course. So it's a given. It's a two-way thing. So just make sure that you're adding value. It's extremely important. Don't just show up at work. Go to work with the intention that you're going to be the best that you can be that day. and as you go in, day out, continue to improve. And also, one thing that I noticed with regards to adding value has nothing to do with how long you've worked there for or how long you've been a nurse for. Because you can see somebody who's worked somewhere for 10 years, but they add very little value to the team. And there could be another nurse who's worked for a year, but that nurse adds so much value to the team. So like I say, it's not about how long you've been there for. Make that experience count. Thank you so much for listening. Do have a good day and stay safe. Bye.